Hi, this is Kurt, Oscar November 7, Oscar Fox Fox, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is specifically made for people who are totally new to the Hermes Lite. They have received their device and now they want to start to play with it. And in this video, I will try to explain you in a time frame of 30 minutes to be on the air and to be able to receive and transmit with your Hermes Lite using the Thetis software. So first things first, let's dive into it right away. And the physical thing is that, of course, you need to have your Hermes Lite turned on. So I'm going to very quickly show you my Hermes Lite right here. So sorry for the shaky video, but I just try to give you a real-time overview of what's going on. So this is the Hermes Lite here with the power turned on, and you can see that there are 4 red lights with some lights flickering. That means that it's turned on. That's the first thing you need to check. And I also recommend you to hook up the UTP cable straight to your UTP Ethernet port of your computer. And you can see I've got an orange kind of a light, which means that I have a gigabit network connection, and you see some activity. The green light is blinking. Now that we are at it, I just want to also point out something that is interesting. This is the Hermes Lite number 2 Plus, so I got the companion board in there. If you do have the normal Hermes Lite, this video is for all of you as well. You will probably have this kind of a view here. And what I can also recommend while you are at it, you see there is something like a PTT or key PTT. This is a 3.5 millimeter jack. Try to find a 3.5 millimeter plug with a cable. Maybe you have an old set of headphones. Cut off the little headphones, and you try to make a short once you have the Hermes Lite running with the grounding and with one of the poles, and this short will engage the PTT. So in this video and in the scope of this video, we will use the software just to PTT, but it will make it much easier. In my case, it's right here. And if you look here, I got a little button here, and this one is my PTT key. If you don't have this, you can go to a normal electro store, and you can try to find like a switch, light switch, whatever, and use that one as a PTT. On the back, of course, you need to connect your coax cable, so you have your antenna connected, or a dummy load. In this case, I have my antenna, and on my case, I also have pure signal, so I am using pure signal, but it's beyond the scope of this video. And over here, you will have a PTT. It says PTT, but actually it's on the Hermes Lite normal one. I think it's called, yeah, it's called exciter. So in fact, what this does is it's going to short when you go into TX mode, and you can use this to connect to your amplifier eventually if you have one. So open your browser, and let me do it on my end. And the very first thing that, the first thing that you want to do is go here. Let me just close one and type in your browser. Let me turn the microphone a little bit so you hear me better. Type in your browser https // Golf India Tango, hub is Hotel Uniform Bravo.com, and / and then the call sign of rate, that is Mike India 0 Bravo Oscar Tango, all in small letters. And when you press enter, you will get to his GitHub page, and here you will see something like Open SDR Thetis. You click it on, and then you go to releases. You see there is 9+ releases, not important, but you click here, it will bring you to the different releases. Take the latest one. I've got version 2.10.3.7 beta 1. And when you click on assets, it's going to drop down the menu, and here you can download the software. So if you click here, it's going to download it. And when it's downloaded it, you can just open it right away. Before you open it, let me just open it right here. I have it twice now. what you also can do is right click the file, go to properties, and just check if you have something like unblock, and there is a little flag that you can enable it to unblock it. I know for a certain Windows version the security is quite high and you cannot start the file unless you unblock the file. Right click it and then go and open it. There you go, open it, and it will start the setup procedure. So accept the license terms, blah blah blah. It's a typical setup. Go to installation and it will install the Thetis software for you. Let me just close all the browser, etc. We don't need it anymore. And after installation, you will see something appearing like a shortcut on your desktop. And here you can see Thetis Hermes Lite number 2. When you double click it, it's not going to start the Hermes Lite. It's going to start actually the FFT optimization. And this procedure can take some time, okay? So I have a quite fast computer. I have a XPS 15 here, the 9570, which is a high-end computer, and it will take about 15 minutes on this computer to almost 20 minutes. If you have a slow computer, it might take up to an hour or even longer. But while you are at it, the next thing I want you to do while this window is running, go to your little icon here of the speaker, right click it, and go to sound settings. And what we need to do is to check the sample rate of your different input and output audio devices, because by default Thetis is going to use a sample rate of 48,000 Hertz, and if there is a mismatch, you will not have any output on the speakers or input on the microphone unless they are configured correctly in your Windows environment. Go to More Sounds Settings, and then from here on, and then you right click every single playback and recording device. You right click it, go to Properties, and go to Advanced, and then you need to check that this is 48,000 Hertz as a sample rate. This needs to be done for all of them, so I recommend you to go all over them and very quickly check that everything is 48,000 Hertz. Properties, Advanced, 48,000 Hertz. I don't need to go further because I've done them already, so they're all at 48,000 Hertz. Now, let me just close this. In the meantime, it's gonna take some time, so let me speed up the video and show you what happens when he's gone through the fast Fourier transform calculations. It's going to go up to, and you can see it right here on the top, it's going to up to 262,000. So if you see this incrementing and you're close to 262,000, it means that you're almost at the end. And then it's going to do a checkup. So it will go through this cycle again, but much faster, and then you're done, and it will start automatically your Thetis software. So let me just fast forward now so you can see what happens when it's finished. Okay, so it has finished doing the calculations. This is a one-time thing, so it's a little bit like fine-tuning everything to make things work smoothly, and it will start up Thetis right away. So there you are. What you can do now is just go to this black box window here and close it. We don't need it anymore. As you can see, it has fired up the Thetis software. I recommend you now to quit Thetis. Yes, quit it. And the next thing I want you to do is right click the Thetis icon and run it as an administrator. The reason is simple. The Ethernet port on your computer, especially if you have a laptop, it has some throttling going on. So in fact, what happens is that this Ethernet port is going into a sleep mode for a couple of milliseconds, and it will cause a lot of trouble when you're going to connect and talk with your Hermes Lite radio with the Thetis software. So you need to actually do a hack in the registry of your Windows computer, but Thetis, the newest versions, they have actually the possibility without having to do it manually. And it's right here. So when you fire up Thetis, go to Setup, Setup again, and you will see HW, so hardware select, and here you will see network throttle index tweak. Be sure that this one is unticked, okay, and you tick it again, okay. Once you have done that, you click on OK, you close down Thetis, and you start or restart your computer. It's very, very important to restart your computer, because if you don't, the new settings will not have any effect. Now, this computer has already the network throttling hack done, so I don't need to restart. So I'll start Thetis again in normal mode, so not in administration mode. And when we are in Thetis and we started it up, go to settings. Let me just put my video or move my video away. Go to setup, okay. And the radio model, you need to change it from Hermes to Hermes Lite. Okay, that's the first thing you need to do. It is very important, because otherwise it will have a very low receive. The next thing you need to do is go to region. Select the region where you're located. In my case, I'm in Europe. And if you enable extended, you will be able to transmit out of the band. So I'm not going to enable it because it's not necessary for me. So the next thing you need to do also is to check if your Ethernet connection is already 1 gigabyte per second, so 1000 megabits per second. Go and right click here, go to network, and then go to Ethernet, and then you have to check that this one here is indeed at 1000 megabits per second. Close this window, go back to the setup menu here, and be aware that these settings will only have effect when you have also, or it will be permanently saved when you also have saved the profile. So everything we're doing right now has not been saved yet, so we will save it in a few moments. The next thing you need to do is go to FW set, which is the bandwidth that you will need to define. Here it says our X1 sample rate is 192,000. I know there are higher figures here. Do not put it higher than 192,000, because a processor that is in the Hermes Lite number 2 is not capable of handling, for example, higher sample rates in the frequency range that you can receive at the same time. So if you use pure signal and you put it higher than 192,000, it's not going to work. You will have a scrambled audio. Let me click on OK, or let me just first save these settings. Go to transmit. So if you see this red box here, it means that the settings are not saved yet. These are the settings that have been changed. And go to transmit, click on save here, and give it a new profile name. I will name it my call sign ON7OFF -default. So this will be the default configuration, and you can see that that red box here is gone, so that means that the settings are saved. So if you quit Thetis now and you start it up, it will have saved the settings that we've just done. So the next thing you need to do before you fire up your Hermes Lite is go to OC control, and this will actually control the filter board. Click on N to ADR. It will set all the jumpers here, and this will actually control the relays on your filter board for the different bands. So if you are on 15 meter, for example, it will engage the relay number 5 and relay number 7. These are required for the receive and transmit to be routed to the right filter on your filter board. The next thing you need to do is go to antenna filters, not here, PA control. This is also very important. This is the power amplifier control that needs to be engaged. So please click on enable full duplex and enable PA. If you do not enable these two, you will not be able to transmit. I do not like the settings or this view here, so it's just a personal preference. I'm going to appearance, then go to skin servers. We'll choose the one Whiskey Alpha 1 Alpha Echo X-ray, click on refresh, and you see here world green. I'm going to take that one, and I click on download here. and it will apply the new skin, so you have a nice skin. The visual aspect of your Thetis will be much better. Let me just click on OK, and the next thing we're going to do is check if we can start the Hermes Lite. If it fails, it means there is an issue with the cable, or maybe you have not DHCP enabled on your network card. Be aware the Hermes will function as a DHCP server and give a IP address to your computer's Ethernet port, so it can communicate with the Thetis software. Also, just keep your Wi-Fi engaged so you can always continue to use internet. And I prefer for the first time to certainly connect the Hermes Lite directly with a Ethernet cable to the Ethernet port of your computer. Click on power and let's see what happens. And that seems good. So we seem to have something happening here. So as you can see, there is even some activity, and I can move around and you can see the different signals, but you do not have any sound output, and this is because we have not defined yet which are the sound devices that should be used for the microphone and for the speaker output or the audio output of the Thetis software. I've hooked up an antenna that goes from 10 to 20 meters. So let me go to another band, and this is a very nice test you need to do, is just click on, for example, any other band and listen carefully, because you should hear some clicks on your Hermes Lite when you change the band. So if you do not hear any clicks, it means that something is wrong, and you need to check that the operation that I just explained to you has been saved. So there you are. Next thing I'm gonna do is go to USB. There you go. And I will go to a frequency. You can click here, you can go here and then use the mouse dial to go up in frequency. So another thing I want to point out is you can move around like this. I am going to change the tune steps here from 10 Hz to 1 kHz. So I click on the plus sign until you are having 1 kHz. And when I use the dial on my mouse, I have an external mouse, you will see that it will go to up and down the band with 1 kHz step. Next thing you need to do is configure the audio input and output devices for your Thetis software. You have also a lot of shortcuts in Thetis, so if you right click the VAC, you will get to the VAC configuration in the setup menu right away. So another way is going to click on here and then setup, you will get here. But if I close this window and right click VAC, because VAC is what we're going to use to actually route the sound and the microphone input of your Hermes Lite. So when you right click, it will bring up the setup menu again, but it will go to the right tabulator where you actually need to configure everything. As you can see, there is no signal or no audio output. First, I need to choose the right audio devices. So for example, if I take Windows WASAPI, I am going to choose my microphone. I am going to choose the F-use microphone. That's the microphone I totally recommend with the Hermes Lite. And I have a link in the description of this video where you can purchase the microphone. And I am going to route the speaker output to my speakers of my laptop here, which is the speaker headphones Realtek. So that's done. And remember, when we check the sample rate for the audio devices, that's what's defined over here. So it's 48,000 by default, and if there is a mismatch, it won't work. So if you click enable VAC, it should logically start to bring up some noise on your speakers. So let me do that. We have indeed something happening. So the band is very quiet now. Let me go maybe to another band. I'll go to 40 meters. To 40, there you are. I'll change to lower sideband, and I'll move it up to here. There you go.
Ist jemand, aber nachdem wir ein lower Sideband haben und ich mich etwas breiter gemacht habe,
let me just turn off the VAC for a second so you hear me. This is where you actually control the volume, and also over here, this is the master volume. And in my case, this is working together with the companion board, so I'm putting it at the lowest level. And then the next thing you need to do is just a few checkups in the back end of the setup menu. So let me just explain you a few things. First of all, go to General, go to, so this one here is Hermes Lite, that's correct. Everything seems to be right. Everything seems to be right here as well. In the options menu, I can recommend you to put the RX delay to about 40 milliseconds. The MOX delay, I would leave it the way it is. The RF delay, I put it at 350 milliseconds, and the PTT delay, I'll put it at 100 milliseconds. Also, just enable all mode mic. I'm not going to give you the explanation because I want you to be on the air as fast as possible. The process priority, I put it on high, and I love the snap to click tune. That means that when I'm going to click here and then use the mouse roller or the mouse dial, it's going to stick to the tune step that is right here. So if it's 159.221 and I just use the dial on my external mouse, it's going to snap it to the 000. So that's easy. These are the most important thing, is this one snap, okay? And then the next thing I'd like to do is auto attenuate on RX. That's also important. The next thing I go is options number 2. And here everything seems to be all right. So I'm not going to change anything here. Here I'm going to enable the band faults in the HL2 options and disable pure signal sync. This I also enable. Not important what exactly they do, but it's beyond the scope of this video because I want you to be on the air as fast as possible. Then go to calibration to make sure that you have a signal on 10 megahertz. Click on start and it's going to calibrate the frequency of your Hermes Lite to the right frequency. So it's going to check the beacon on the 10 megahertz frequency and it's going to calculate it. And you saw that my Hermes Lite was a little bit out of frequency, and right now I am straight on the frequency as it's supposed to be. Go to filters, not important. OC, that's done. This one is done. This one is done. And let me go also to audio. And as you can see, one thing I would like to do first also is go to transmit, okay? And the max gain, I'm going to explain you right away. What this does is going to give you the capability to go beyond 10 dB with the microphone input level. So if I change these settings, you will see that this slider will go to the left. I want to be able to increase the gain up to even 70 dB. It's not important, or 50. I'm going to disable also 20 dB mic boost. This is true for the FDU's microphone. And as you can see, the transmit filter, this is the bandwidth that we're going to use for the TX. So there you are. And then let me go back to DSP. I think these settings are all right. What you can also do is just increase the settings for TX for SSB to 8000. And for FM, I prefer to have it at the lowest settings. It gives me the best audio. As you can see, we need to save these settings. Otherwise, if I would quit Thetis and I open Thetis again, it will eventually revert back to the settings that were saved last time I saved things. So go to transmit, click on save. There you go. Okay, yes. And now it has saved everything. So let me just bring back the noise. If you want to find very quickly a configuration, I want to also enable the mute button. If I, there you go. There you go. So here it is. I want to be able to use the mute button in the front end of Thetis, and it's this button right here. So if I engage VAC, now I can mute it at my will. So the next thing we're gonna do is try to transmit. And let me just choose a frequency where there is nothing. I can also click on C-tune. C-tune means that it's going to do like this, and I'm going to zoom out so I can see everything here on 40 meter. And the first thing you want to do is be sure that your antenna is connected. Put the power to the least possible power. This is the power slider. And then click on tune. And this will send a tone and the transmission, and as you can see we have 1 watt here, so it means that the TX is working. That's very good sign. And the next thing we need to do is to check if we have audio. So I right click here again, right click, and as you can see I've got my FUs. If you do not have an external microphone, you can use a microphone of your computer, but the audio quality won't be that great. Yeah, I see that this one is back again in a color, so I'm going to save these settings again, because if you do not save it, next time you come into Thetis and you do not enable VAC, you won't hear anything. You'll be in big panic for the first time user, gonna say, hey, it's not working. So this actually is going to stop the audio input and the audio output. So there you are. Let me just go and TX. So how do you TX on Thetis? Click on MOX. 1, 2, 1, 2. As you can see, I can zoom and it seems to do the right thing. So we are transmitting. So this means that I have a transmission. I can drive, turn on the power, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this seems to work right. Okay. And when I click again here, it's going to go into receive mode again. Let me mute again. One more thing I would like to explain to you. I explained you with the front end panel of the Hermes Lite radio that you can connect a 3.5 millimeter jack. Either you can click here with the mouse to go into TX mode on the MOX. Another possibility would be the spacebar. Now the spacebar has not been configured yet, so go to setup, okay, and then go to keyboard, and here you need to enable shortcuts, okay, and be sure that this one is PTT. By default it will be PTT that will be engaged. Okay, click on OK, and then you're done. Also, while we are at it, click on PSA, that's the pure signal, and duplex mode, so you can use the internal pure signal. Let me just check linearity. So let me click here, and yes, the settings here are correct, but this should be engaged as well. And I'm going to also enable these here. So there you are. Let me close this one down. Let me transmit one more time. And testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give a little bit more power. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. So there you are. It seems to work, and you are on the air already. For some weird reasons, pure signal is not working, but it's beyond the scope of this video. But this will give you the possibility to be on the air very, very quickly. Okay, I hope this video was useful. I recommend you fullest to check the series from Zero to Hero with the Thetis and the Hermes Lite. It will give you a complete overview on how to use the software, how to use your Hermes Lite to the maximum. I hope this video was useful, 73s, and have fun with your Hermes Lite. Bye-bye.